Hi Gaura, Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraya Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Welcome everyone to this transcendental program of studying Bhagavad Dharma, called Param Dharma, or the ultimate duty of humankind. Especially, we should consider, we, we must acknowledge ourselves to be very fortunate because we are connected to the lineage of the mercy in the teachings of Bhagwan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came to bestow upon us the highest possible fortune for a human being. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, through his followers, he made this arrangement for all us conditioned souls to become that way most fortunate. So our acknowledgement that we are very fortunate, having been connected to Mahaprabhu, it is our obligation. This acknowledgement that we are very fortunate being connected to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it comes with an obligation, because any acknowledgement of privilege, or, it comes with an obligation, because one does not get a privilege for nothing. Just as we have got this human form of life, so this human form of life with its associated privileges. No? In human form of life, one is meant to accomplish something, utilizing the unique privileges we have got. Similarly, if we acknowledge our being very fortunate to be connected with Mahaprabhu's mercy and teachings, obligation is that now we must become fully blessed. This point we have discussed many times, but it should resonate in our thought, in our contemplation so much that merely acknowledging that I am very fortunate, it must lead, it should drive me now to become fully blessed to our potential. So in that line only, and what is that becoming fully blessed? To attain love of God, or to become a pure devotee of the highest possible nature. And love of God also at the highest level possible for a conditioned soul, for a living entity who is part and parcel of this Tatastha Shakti, marginal potency of the Lord. And all the teachings, especially the teachings which expand, which are meant to establish the Manobhishta of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially his primary principal direct disciples or followers, the Shad Goswamis, beginning with Rup Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Raghunath, etc. So they have given, they have shown us the path how to become fully blessed, how to attain the perfection, how to become the highest perfection of our human potential. And so in the present time, we are studying Sri Prema Bhakti Chandrika by Sir Narottam Das Thakur, which, uh, which is directing us in all aspects as to how to, from our present condition, how we can move to our fullest perfection, how to attain uh, the highest level of love of God in the name of Sri Radha Dasya. Prem Bhakti Chandrika, is the very name suggests, it shows us the path, it enlightens our path on our path of this pure devotional service, on the path leading to attaining the pure devotional service. And so it's very, very useful. So today we will discuss text number 12 in the last Sloka. We discussed about the Navada Bhakti, ninefold devotional service, which basically the Bhagavad Dharma, Bhagavad Shastra Marma. So the Navvidha Bhakti Dharma. So Bhagavatam Shastra teaches us 9 kinds of devotional service, which we participate, which we although we render ninefold of devotional services, somewhat. And so that Bhagavad Dharma, in which taking participating in ninefold devotional service, which further expands into many, like in Bhakti Samit Sindhu, 64 limbs of devotional service, Rupa Goswami has described. So basically, they are this ninefold devotional service of Bhagavatam is further expanded. And no other shelter, no. So this Bhagavad Dharma, the ninefold, 64 devotional services, they are all part of the exclusive devotion to the Supreme. Ananyas Chintayanto, exclusive devotion to Krishna. There's no space for the worship of for taking shelter of other gods. Anya devashraya nai, tumhare kohilo bhai, ei bhakti param puri. So this exclusive devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is the highest worship. That's what we study. And today, in the continuation of that slok number 12, it says, Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya Hridaye Kariya Aikya Satat Bhasibo Prema Majhe Karmi Gyani Bhakti Hina Iha Ke Karibo Bhina Narottama Ei Tattva Gaje Narottama Ei Tattva Gaje. Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya Hridaye Koriya Aikya. Hriday means in my heart. I will see the words of saints, sadhu, shastra, the scriptures, and guru, the guru, as one and the same. No duality between the the words is mentioned in the scriptures, is spoken by other saintly persons, and the person we take shelter in, that Sri Guru. So we should not have any tinge of duality, any contradiction, or any difference in purpose. No? The words of the saints, the words of the scriptures, and the words of Sri Guru, the Guru, I must consider. I must see them as one and the same. Thus, I will always float in prema. Satate bhasivo prema majhe. Bhasivo means floating, Satate bhasivo prema majhe. I will karmi, jnani, bhakti hina. I will keep away from the fruitive workers, or those who follow the so-called injunctions of the scriptures to perform certain rituals or things for fruitive results, for sense gratification, or mental speculators. Jnani means those who aspire to merge into transcendence, or merge into oneness, of non-matter, because living entity by in its nature is anti-matter, no? And so because matter has no experience by itself, but only the conscious being experiences. So one wants to merge into total experience. That kind of tendency those who have, they want to completely absolve from any association with matter. That kind of, but although one is non-matter, but that is not the identity, because we don't exist in isolation. That's why our identity is in relation to our source. We don't exist by ourselves. We don't. So we are someone's. That is our real identity. But those who want to get lost or merge into oneness, so they have that kind of isolation in a sense. So this karmis, those who are engrossed in sense gratification endeavors, and jnanis, those who want to become non-existent, non-active, or they want to become bereft of any connectivity with anyone. So both these extreme endeavors, karmi and jnani, bhakti, they are bereft of, they are like non-devotees. Karmi, jnani, bhakti hina, iha ke koribo bhina. इहा के कोरिबो भिन्न नरोत्तम ए तत्व गाजे. So इहा के कोरिबो भिन्न, consider them different. So they are both non-devotees. So this is the Narottama E Tattva Gaje. So Narottam Das Thakur is proclaiming this. Yes, we are not interested to become karmis, jnanis. We are meant to become devotees. So those who are not devotees, those who are not exclusively devoted to Krishna, that fall under the other two categories within the so-called Vedic spectrum, or Vedic. Within the Vedic following, somebody may be engrossed in to become a fruitive worker for sense gratification. Others may be engrossed in speculative knowledge, jnanis. We have to separate ourselves from them. because they are non-devotees. So the words of Sadhu, Shastra and Guru. So Sri Narottam Das Thakur, after describing this ninefold devotions, is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. The sense and the scriptures have described these 9 types of devotion in many different ways. Correct? Sense we can consider previous acharyas and also in the present time, many saintly people who follow the path of pure devotional service. Because in the pure devotional service, there are different paramparas. No? There are different paramparas. Everybody, those who follow the Vaishnava paramparas, the basic understanding and teachings are not different. There will be difference in detail, but not in essence. So, as we discussed that Sri Rupa Goswami has extended these 9 types of devotion as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam into 64 types in his book Bhakti Sindhu. And he has described all the rules of devotional purity that must be followed by the sadhakas. And whatever relations they have with everyday bodily affairs must be followed according to the words of the sadhus, shastra and guru by the sadhakas who desire their own welfare. So these Goswamis, they have so wonderfully directed conditioned souls, means sadhakas to begin, how to become purified by following the rules and regulations. Because the sadhus, they themselves incorporate those rules and regulations in their own sadhanas. And they very much follow the path is established, evidenced in the scriptures. That's sadhu. One who follows the scriptures is the embodiment of the ideal which is established in the Shastras. Is called sadhu. So, according to the words of the sadhus, Shastra and Guru, Guru means the person or the saintly person whom we follow personally. So anybody who desires one's ultimate welfare, he must on daily basis, every day, should follow the rules and regulations as established by the scriptures, followed by the sadhus, and also directed and followed by the spiritual masters we take shelter. So this has been described, in the first part of this sloka. What is that? Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya Hridaye Koriya Aikya. In Guru Vandana also, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittete Koriya Aikya. No? In the beginning part of Guru Vandana, that was in Sloka number. In the fourth Tripadi. Similar, no? Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Kari Aikya or Hidi Kari Mahashakya, whichever way. Through this couplet, it is learned that Sri Guru's words about rules and prohibitions must be firmly kept within the heart. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Kariya Aikya. We focus, we find without any deviation, without any doubt. consider Chittete Kariya Aikya, whatever the Sri Guru Spiritual Master has spoken, we hold utmost faith in him. Chittete Kariya Aikya, okay. If he has ordered this, to follow the order of the Spiritual Master is the life and soul of the disciple, of the sadhaka. And because they are very powerful. They are to follow the words or the direction or the order of the spiritual master makes one very, very successful, very powerful. So, and because the direction is to consider them on the absolute way. But in absolute also, there is variegatedness. But there cannot be any contradiction. So even if some apparent contradiction appears, that as if the scripture says some, because in scripture there are many instructions of similar nature under different time, place, and circumstances. Saintly people also during different times, they have followed or given instructions differently, but not in contradiction, because as we discussed, the purpose of the scriptures, purpose of the sadhus and the spiritual master, they are all directing us for our ultimate good. That common principle is never violated. So if somebody asks a question, you are speaking that all three should be taken in unison. But what if if Sri Gurudev gives an unjust order, unjust means appearing in contradiction to what we heard, what the scriptures say, or what the other saintly people have said, which is not in accordance with the teachings of the saints and scriptures, or which is not favorable to bhajan. Wow. Is this possible? Are such orders also to be followed without consideration? On one side, one is asked to have absolute faith in the directions and the words, holding on to the words and order of the spiritual master. So what if there appears contradiction into the words and directions of the scriptures or the saintly persons and the spiritual master? Are such orders also to be followed without consideration? So to erase such doubts, the blessed author, Nautam Das Thakur, says in Sloka, Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya Hridaya Kariya Aikya. When the words of Sri Guru are compatible with the scriptures that help one to attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the words of the virtuous sadhus, sadachari sadhus, two conditions. When the words of the spiritual master are compatible with the scriptures that help one to attain the personality of Godhead, and the words of the various sadhus, then they must be followed without consideration. Wow. When one has taken shelter of a bona fide spiritual master who follows the scriptures, now this is the real important thing. When the spiritual master, when one takes shelter of a bona fide spiritual master who follows the scriptures and the parampara of the sadhus, follow the scriptures, follow the rules and regulations himself, then his orders can never be contrary to the words of the scriptures and the saints. These things. It seems like there must be in the word guru, because people many times accept many different kinds of guru who are not actually gurus. The basic meaning fundamental thing about Guru is one who removes all the ignorance. Divyam Jnanam Yato Datyat. One who enlightens us, or makes us free from all the layers of ignorance about our Swarupa. One who enlightens us about our true identity as the eternal servant of Krishna. So one who not only but also directs us, to follow the path of pure devotional service. So naturally, the spiritual master bona fide means in coming in a Vaishnava parampara, one who himself became the disciple of a bona fide spiritual master. So in order to, or how to recognize a bona fide spiritual master, that he was himself a bona fide disciple. A bona fide disciple is eligible to become a bona fide spiritual master. Then his orders can never be contrary to the words of the scriptures and the saints. Therefore, scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam have advised to take shelter of the lotus feet of the spiritual master, who is Shabda Brahma Nishnata. Tasmad Gurum Prapadyete Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam Shabde Paricha Nishnatam Brahmani Upasamashaya. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Shabde Paricha Nishnatam. Shabde means in Shabda Brahma. Shabda means the Vedas. Shabda means words. Brahma. Brahma has two meanings. Shabde, Shabda Brahma and Para Brahma. So Shabde Brahma means the Vedas, and Pare means Shabde Pare, Para Brahma. The scriptures who describe about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Pare, Shabde Parishan is one who is also devoted to the Supreme Personality of God. So one who is not only expert in the meaning and the conclusion of the scriptures, Shabde, Pare, Cha Nishnatam. Nishnatam means expert. So he's expert in the Vedic conclusion also. Nishnat means expert or evolved in one's devotion to the Supreme. So Shabde Parishan Nishnatam. Brahmani Upasamashray. So how, so two things, learned in Vedic scriptures and Parabrahme Nishnata, or devoted to the personality of Godhead. So that such dilemma or confusion can never take place in the spiritual life of a sadhaka, because sadhaka is a follower. So if he is following the person who is perfect in his understanding, appreciation of the scriptural conclusion, and also who is very, very much evolved in his pure devotional fervor or sentiment for the Lord. And so one who is experienced in devotion. So such a person, he will only show us the path which is bona fide, which is sanctioned, which is corroborated by the scriptural authority injunctions, and also corroborated by the practice of other previous sadhus, present sadhus also. So that dilemma would not take place. So this is this way. But anyway, if the spiritual master gives some unfair order, suppose, which is contrary to the words of the sadhus and the shastras, one thing is for sure, our spiritual master is a primarily, or is our Siksha Guru also, no? Our Diksha Guru, the spiritual master, And so naturally we become we become aware as to what is right and what is wrong, correct? So the very person who taught us what is right, what is wrong, what is proper, all these things. Say, if the same person sometimes to check us whether how well we have understood. He used to have some kind of testing us whether we have learned things properly or not. There is a pastime that Srila Prabhupada would made us play with his disciples. He would ask many questions. What they Prabhupada would sometimes contradict, give a different logic, and try to test and play with his disciples whether they have understood what they have been taught properly. Sometimes Prabhupada would contradict, and then again, sometimes disciples will contradict Prabhupada, their guru. They know Prabhupada, because they will say, you taught us that we are not supposed to say like this, or this is like Mayavadi, or many arguments, counter arguments. So in the same way, sometimes, if the spiritual master gives some unfair order which is contrary to the words of the sadhus and the shastras, the sadhaka should think he is testing him, wanting to know how loyal the sadhaka is to the sadhus and the shastras, or the words or teachings of the sadhus and the shastras. So thus he will discard that order and anxiously pray to the lotus feet of Sri Guru. Because to discard the order of the spiritual master is it's not at all a good thing to do, but he won't be able to follow the order of the spiritual master, which is contrary to the scriptures and the saintly persons. So thus he will discard that order and anxiously pray to the lotus feet of Sri Guru. Oh Sri Guru, are you testing me? Why are you testing me? I have learned, I have received so much wonderful knowledge in agreement with the scriptures and the sadhus. Why I cannot. So if Sri Gurudev still insists in his unfair order to the disciple should know it as a hard test of Sri Guru, and considering himself to be unable to understand such a test, should keep a distance and do bhajan in allegiance to the sadhus and the shastras, scriptures. He should still not act according to Sri Guru's instructions. So this this is very critical sloka. Why any disciple, actually why any bona fide disciple has to face such circumstance where one has to contradict or disagree or deny or oppose the order of the spiritual master. But nonetheless, if one has accepted somebody or honored somebody as the spiritual master, who seems to transgress the words of the scriptures and the saints, not previously, but in present time, sometimes spiritual authorities, they deviate, they become confused, because the perception of the disciple about the spiritual master, once a spiritual master, should be absolute. Although, as we discussed, this is very, very essential. These instructions are very, very amazing. A sadhaka should never think of one's spiritual master as fallible, although no spiritual master ever has claimed that one is infallible. In the material world, Dvavimau Purusho Loke Ksharas Chakshara Evacha Kshara Sarvani Bhutani Kutastha Akshara Uchyate. Dvavima Purusho Loke Kshara. two kinds of beings. So in the material world, everybody is fallible, correct? That is the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Zavimau Purushaulu Shara. Shara Sarvani Bhutani. In this material world, everybody comes as a fallible being. But when one becomes Diksha Kale Bhakti Kare Atma Samarpan, so once one becomes transcendentalized by becoming initiated by the bona fide spiritual master, Diksha Kale Bhakti Kare Atma Samarpan, and shows one's full surrender. Diksha Kale Bhakti Kare Atma Samarpan, at that moment, Sei Kale Krishna Tare Kare Atma Samarpan. Krishna accepts him on the same level as him. So Krishna is infallible, correct? So when one takes shelter of the bona fide spiritual master at that time, because Krishna accepts him in his fold. So what is the realm of Krishna? The realm of Krishna is infallible. So because the spiritual master is perceived as an associate of Krishna by the disciple. Like Prabhupada used to say, my spiritual master is from Vaikuntha. He's a Vaikuntha person. But no spiritual master ever claimed that I am from Vaikuntha. So how one understands this apparent contradiction? No spiritual master, no spiritual being ever claimed that I come from Vaikuntha. But the disciple is supposed to think of once a spiritual master is an associate of Krishna, or is one from Vaikuntha. Why? Because he's situated in the transcendental consciousness. So once, or the moment one becomes situated in absolute consciousness, one belongs there. No? We belong what we are conscious of. Where do we belong? What we become? We become what we become conscious. Or we become that persons. Either if we become conscious of something, and if that something is multiple, then we attain the same nature. The Bhagavatam describes yatra yatra manodehi dharayet sakalam dhyam snehad dveshad tatha vapi yati tattat swarupatam. Wherever our mind with full intelligence becomes concentrated, one attains the same nature. But if we become conscious of something which is irreplaceable, or which is not duplicable, if one becomes conscious of Krishna, does he become Krishna? No, he becomes Krishna's. Anyway, so what we were discussing is about the nature of the spiritual master. Disciple considers him in the absolute platform. It's an associate of Krishna, or one belonging to the Supreme, or from the Supreme realm, Vaikuntha. So it would be tremendous, most unpleasant thing if one has to negate, or one has to deny such a such the person who has been honored with such respect, or on the absolute platform. And therefore, due to circumstances, or due to certain thing, because we have honored someone on that level, now to dishonor him in any way is not uh, is not allowed, because we feel indebted to him. We feel so much respect, and we acknowledge in gratitude, how much one has caused the benefit or transformed our Krishna, our consciousness to the absolute end. So anyway, if the spiritual master is on the absolute platform and the disciple also on the absolute platform, then there will be no duality. But often it happens in the material world, the spiritual master deviates or falls from his absolute standard, then the disciple who is on the absolute platform, he should no, he should not follow, but at the same time he should not disrespect, should not show any disrespect or dishonor towards the spiritual master. So there are many Vedic scriptures, some of them mainly describe fruitive activities or non-dualistic philosophies. And even in the devotional branches of the scriptures, many different means are described to attain the Lord. Many, like the five mellows, correct? Shantarasa, quiet appreciation, of the Supreme, Dashyarasa in servitude, Sakhyarasa in friendship, parental, also conjugal relation. So, and even on this path of pure devotional service, different level, different rasas there, and many Vedic scriptures, their emphasis, certain Vedic scriptures emphasize on the importance of the fruitive activities, karma kand, others, jnana kand, non-dualistic philosophies. And even in the devotional branches of the scriptures, many different means are described to attain the Lord. As we said, different moods and different powers. Therefore, it is impossible for a sadhaka to practice all these different ways. Therefore, whatever the sense of one's own tradition or sampradaya, who follows the scriptures of one's own tradition or sampradaya, must be accepted by a sadhaka who aspires for his own welfare, provided they are compatible with the words of the scriptures and the Guru. So what is meant to be said is that whatever the spiritual master orders is to be accepted when it is in congruence, in accordance, or in agreement with the scriptures and sense of one's own tradition. We have to follow some authority lineage, correct? Because we cannot just go sideways, follow one thing, this direction, that direction. Authority is, we have to follow the vertical authority, the reciprocal succession. We cannot get distracted or just divided into multiple directions. So that's why one has to follow the scriptures and the saintly person, sadhus of one's own tradition. Correct? Again, those scriptural injunctions are to be accepted. Again, those scriptural injunctions are to be accepted that are in congruence with the Sri Gurudev and the saints of one's own tradition. And again, the words of the saints are to be accepted when they are in congruence or agreement with the words of Sri Guru and the scriptures. So the three have to be fully aligned. If the words of one of them, means the Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, if the words of one of them, either Guru, Shastra, or Sadhu, are not in line with the words of the other two, then they cannot be accepted. Wow. two are in contradiction. As we have discussed again, we re-emphasize the purpose of Guru Sadhu Shastra is to direct the sadhaka to his towards his absolute good, na? Pure devotional service. But when apparent contradiction is there, uh, then the other two have to be brought in agreement. If the two are in disagreement, then one should not follow just the instruction of one, the negation or the opposition of the two. When the three are intercompatible, they are to be accepted. Hence, the blessed author Narottam Das Thakur has said, Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya Hridaye Koriye Aikya Satate Bhasivo Prema Maje. All bhajan instructions that are favorable to attaining love for Krishna should be firmly kept within the heart and will thus swiftly remove all obstacles to bhajan and cause prema to appear. Because otherwise, the duality will go, wow, if I have to follow this instruction, but if the other two are in contradiction, then it's not a very healthy understanding. We should not uh, leave things in confusion or in duality. Hmm? So what is the ultimate purpose of following the Guru Sadhana Shastra? What is the purpose? Purpose is to attain prema. So when prema appears, this essential ingredient of the Lord's existence, what is the nature of prema? Love of God. It's a essential ingredient of the uh, two of the three primary or the internal, the three aspects of internal potency. So love of God is the essential ingredient of Lord's this Sambit and Hladini Shakti. Essential ingredient of Krishna's Sambit. Sambit means knowledge or experience, and pleasure of Hladini Shakti. You know. So that is what is targeted here. And so this prema. So prema is described as the essential ingredient of the Lord's Samvit and Hladini Shakti. Prema will then bless the loving devotee by making him relish the Lord's sweetness and always keep him floating in an ocean of relishing. Relishing means experiencing. Sweet Bhagavad Rasa Satate Bhasibo Prema Maje. So this is the ultimate. If one just follows the directions which are in agreement with these three aligned Guru Sadhu Shastra, then one becomes blessed to experience the prema, the sweet Bhagavad Rasa. Prema means which helps one experience the sweetness of the Supreme. An ocean of relishing sweet Bhagavad Rasa. Bhagavad means Krishna Rasa. Krishna is the Raso Vai Saha. Rasam hi evayam labdha anandi bhavati. So one experiences bliss with the effect of love of God. So after this, the Narottam Das Thakur says, Karmi Jnani Bhakti Hine Iha ke Koribo Bhine Narottama E Tattve Gaje. Practitioners of Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda devoid of devotion. serving Lord Sri Krishna and making him happy is called bhakti. But the karmis and jnanis, what is their aspiration? Karmis and jnanis seek their own happiness, self-centeredness. Why? Because the karmis, what is their aspiration? Their aspiration is to enjoy heavenly pleasures. They wish to attain heavens. And jnanis yearn for liberation. So both are devoid, both are away from devotion. And in order to attain their goal, they practice bhajana. They may appear to be doing like bhajana or chanting different things. They also appear just like other devotees. They also appear doing singing and hearing of Krishna, along with their own sadhana of karma and jnana. Because the sadhana practice of karma and jnana by themselves, they cannot bestow the desired result. It is described in the scriptures. Bhakti binu kono sadhan dite nare phal. Without bhakti binu kono sadhan, no sadhana, no endeavor, no procedure, no system of practice can give the desired result. Bhakti bina kono sadhan dite nare phal. But sarva phal dei bhakti, but devotional practice is able to bestow all the fruits of different sadhanas. Sarva phal dei bhakti, swatantra prabal, is very, very powerful, independent. So bhakti, any practice of bhakti, Shravan Kirtan, etc., even if the person, the performer of bhakti, these limbs of bhakti, Shravana, Kirtana, Smart, all this, correct? Any limbs of bhakti, if a sadhaka performs, even not aspiring to give pleasure to Krishna or to, still bhakti gives the secondary benefit. What are the secondary benefits of bhakti? The fulfillment of the fulfillment of the aspirations of karmi and jnanis, who aspire for heavenly pleasures and liberation respectively. That's why, just to encourage the devotees, it is said that ajagala stanyaya anya sadhana, all other systems of or practices, they are compared to the ajagala stana. Stana means what you call udders, Stana. Ajagal means the goat. Gala means neck. So on the neck of the goat is a lump of skin which appears like the udder or the nipples of the goat which gives milk. But the nipple-like lump of skin which is hanging from the neck of a goat does not give milk. So ajagal, that's useless. What is the use of a lump of skin which appears like a nipple, which does not give milk? So it's useless. So other endeavors are compared to that useless because they cannot give fruit by themselves. Ajagala stana nyay anya sadhana. Ataiv Krishna bhaje buddhimadya. Therefore, those who are truly intelligent, they only take the path of devotion. Ataiv Krishna bhaje. They worship Krishna in devotion. Buddhiman, those who are truly intelligent. Because without devotion, no practice can yield fruit. whereas devotion itself independently bestows all fruits. Still, since they have personal desires, hmm, the karmis and jnanis, because they have personal desires, they are considered bereft of devotion, because the desire to serve the Lord never awakens within their hearts, because they are so self-centered, they are so self-obsessed, because they haven't experienced the joy. वासुदेवे भगवती भक्ति योग है प्रयोजित जनयति आशु वैरागम ज्ञानम च तद अहेतुकम. Jnana means experience. Ahetuki means causeless. Jnanam and karma. When one is engaged in karma kanda or fruitive activities, what is hankering after? He's hankering after sense gratification, not gratification or help of Krishna. Or when one is aspiring, or one is performing jnana kanda or sadhana on the platform of jnana, then he is hankering for liberation from this material bondage. But one who is engaged in pure devotional service of Krishna, Vasudeva, Bhagavati, Bhakti Yoga Prayojita, engaged, then as a result, the concomitant effect is Janayati Ashu Vairagyam. He immediately experiences the detachment from the material entanglement, material attraction. Janayati Ashu Vairagyam and Jnanam Chat Rahitutam. And what he experiences the sweetness of Krishna's name, form, qualities, pastime, etc. So one who experiences the bliss of Krishna's name, form, qualities, pastime, etc. merely by practice of devotional service, he becomes fully fulfilled. One who feels fully fulfilled in accordance to one's Swarupa is the eternal servant of Krishna. What could be greater joy? What more to be hankered once one is experiencing in fullness the sweetness of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes? So therefore, he's the most intelligent person. But those who desire personal desire, those who have personal desires, they are bereft of devotion. So a living entity, as long as one is not able to participate in the performance of pure devotional service in the form of Shravanam Kirtanam, this ninefold devotional service, or any other aspects, one may continue having personal desires. And as long as one has personal desires, that means one is bereft of devotion, because the desire to serve the Lord, and as long as the personal desires remain prominent, the desire to serve the Lord never awakens within his or her heart. So such people, they only do bhajan to attain their own goals. So Nautam Das Thakur is advising us, those who are practicing devotional service and those who are relishing somewhat the bliss of the sweetness of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. He says, Ihake koribo bhinna. I will stay away from them, karmis and jnanis, who are self-centered and those who are interested in personal desires, and those who are not interested, or those who don't relish devotional practice of the personality of Godhead, devotional limbs. So while associating with the saints, one must distinguish them from genuine devotees. While associating with the saints, one must distinguish them from genuine devotees. In other words, they should never be associated with at all here. While associating with the saints, one must distinguish them from genuine devotees. Seems like many people appear to be like saintly. But, genuine devotees means those who are pure devotees, or those who are interested in the pleasure of Krishna, service of Krishna, rather than many so-called saintly people. They may appear, but they may not be genuine devotees. Many sadhus appear to be sadhus, but their aspiration is for either some elevation to the higher planets, or those who are salvationists. But genuine devotees are different. So while associating with the saints means those who are renounced, so from the material entanglement. But even amongst those, the genuine devotees are rare. So one has to distinguish. In other words, they should never be associated with at all the non-devotees. One should very consciously associate with the genuine devotees. Seeing their bhajan means here about the karmis and jnanis. Seeing their bhajans and associating with them may cause the heart of the sadhaka who has already commenced pure bhajan to become attracted to matters other than Krishna. So the other saintly looking persons, their focus, the target may not be the love of Krishna or service of Krishna. But their practices may be very, very meticulous, very austere and different. Sadhaka, many sadhakas, those who are engaged in jnana sadhanas or some special practices, even karmis, like many stalwart sadhakas who perform such a severe austerities to attain some status in the higher realms. So we have to be very, very conscious about which saintly people we associate. We should always very consciously associate only with genuine devotees. Because association makes a difference, correct? Whosoever you associate, you inculcate, or imbibe the same mood as theirs. So if we are serious practitioners, if you want to become serious practitioners of pure devotional service, our association has to be very conscious. Yasya yat sangati punso manivat shyat satat guna. Just as a jewel attains the attributes of his environment. Yasya yat sangati punso manivat shyat satat guna. So jewel sometime, when it is fixed in some metal, then the color of the metal is reflected in the jewel. So just as a jewel attains the attributes of his environment, a person becomes influenced by the attributes of the people he associates with. That's very natural. Following this rule, it is inevitable that the feelings of the people one associates with are injected within the heart. When two people associate, quite possibly one who is more influential or situated or in one's consciousness greater, then he will have influence on the other person. So only if a person on this path of if a pure devotee who is very strongly situated in the practice of pure devotional service in his consciousness, then he will definitely influence the other person who is not in that consciousness. But if the person, the regular sadhaka, like most of us, we are not, we may not be so strongly fixed in our determination on the following the principles of pure devotional service. Then other sadhakas or saintly people, they may be salvationists. They may be very much engrossed in the aspiration to become liberated, to attain the status in the higher realms for more more sense gratification. Then the regular or not so advanced sadhaka of a pure devotional service, he may be influenced by them. So even if these desires other than for Krishna are not injected into the heart of a sadhaka who has firm faith, so it's a caution given here. Even if these desires, so the main rule is that it's inevitable. So one has to find in good association. It's so essential. Our whole Vaishnava tradition is very much emphasizing that asat sang chhadi ai Vaishnava achar. No matter how much satsang or good association we stay in, that's very good. That is for our own good. So why to speak so much about what good things we do? That's for our benefit. That's well and good. But the scriptures, the saintly people, and the spiritual master is more concerned about where we may fall away. Asat sang chhadi. Bad association. Asat means bad. Asat sang chhadi, to give up. A Vaishnava achar. So what is the achar means? What is this? What is the standard? What is the standard practice? That one give up. Bad association. So one has to consciously stay in good association. Good means satsang means transcendental. Here sat means eternal, transcendental. One has to safeguard oneself by remaining in satsang or good association, transcendental association all the time. That standard will make it possible to remain free from bad association. Asat sang chhadi. Chhadi means give up. When we will be able to give up asat sang? Only when we are able to remain engaged in good association or satsang all the time. Asat sang chhadi. Hey Vaishnava achar. But because there's quite a possibility, because of our association with the asat sang since eternity, our attraction, our affinity, our fascination is still to this world, the variegated temptation, variegated attractions, fascination of this world is so strong and deep rooted. We have experienced it. That's why we must, as a sadhaka, we have to very consciously, more and more, again, contemplate about the transcendental nature, transcendental variegatedness of the spiritual world. the spiritual realm, spiritual pastimes, relishing the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Krishna, and also always remaining aware that this material realm, which is manifested in front of our eyes and in front of our senses, they are only to cause us to remain stuck here in this realm of birth and death. So even while living in this realm of the three modes of material nature, how one would be able to free oneself from this entanglement? Even while living in this realm of three modes of material nature, if one simply becomes an observer that this is temporary, this is not where we want to become stuck. So one who sees prapancha, prapancha means maya, prapancha means entanglement. Even while living in this world of entanglement, one can come out of it. So how one becomes entangled in this material realm? By forgetting, by becoming tempted, by becoming fascinated to become entangled by it. So if you become fascinated, then you can become entangled. But if you see, if we observe this as if one observes its temporary nature, then one can free oneself from becoming entangled. Only when the attraction seems to be like so overwhelming or so, yeah, this is real, correct? But nothing in this realm of our experience, nothing keeps its, nothing sustains its wholesomeness for a long time. So one who can see, one who very, very consciously or with full awareness, one who sees the temporary nature of this material realm manifest in front of us, he will not become entangled. And one who forgets that this is temporary, one will end up becoming entangled. So that is what we have to achieve. Therefore, association makes a big difference. Asat Sangha Chadiye Vaishnavacha. So what is Asat Sangha? Categorically, very simply described. Istri Sangi ek asadhu. Istri means the object of my enjoyment. I am Purusha. Every living entity is imitating to be Purusha or Krishna. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. So, okay, I am also little Krishna, I am little Purusha. Krishna enjoys with the unlimited living entities, gopis and others. So, at least I should have at least one. So, let Krishna. But the whole idea is we are not the primary enjoyers. The nature of our enjoyment is vicarious to the primary enjoyment of Krishna. Krishna says, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So, what is Asat Sang basically? We must very consciously associate with such persons who appreciate Krishna being the only or the supreme enjoyer. He's the Bhokta, he's the enjoyer, direct enjoyer. We cannot be. We cannot be the direct enjoyer because by nature, the mode of our enjoyment is by serving the primary enjoyment of Krishna. So those who appreciate Krishna being the supreme enjoyer, Bhaktaram Yajnatapasam, Sarvalok Maheshwaram, Krishna is the ruler. Maheshwaram, he is the Lord of all the opulence and everything. Sarvalok, everything in existence. Suridam Sarvabhusharam, he is our best well-wisher. Those who can appreciate these three aspects of Krishna, he will become free from the wrong aspiration to become the enjoyer or to be the Ishvara or to be the well-wisher of everyone. We need all the well-wishing of Krishna and those who have been blessed by Krishna, rather than trying to become well-wisher of others ourselves. We have still yet to find ourselves. We have to become situated in our eternal identity as the eternal servant of Krishna, of the divine couple. And that's why, so what is a satsang? Anyone who harbors this notion that I'm the enjoyer, I'm the proprietor of everything I have, and I'm the well-wisher. So these three functions have been already adopted by Krishna. So those who try to take in these three aspects, the position of Krishna, trying to become the enjoyer or the proprietor of everything or the well-wisher of everything, he's he has deviated from reality. So that is asatsang. So anything which makes us deviate from the reality of Krishna or Krishna's role, then what role is left with us? If Krishna has taken these three roles, Bhuktaram, Yagitapsam, Sarvalokam, Suridam, Sarvabhutanam, the only role left for us, which is in accordance to our Sarup, is to serve Krishna. To appreciate that is, let Krishna be the supreme enjoyer. What is our capacity to enjoy anyway? So our capacity, the mode of our enjoyment is vicarious. This word vicarious is very, 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 very wonderful, because we are Krishna's, and when we appreciate, when we marvel how wonderful an enjoyer Krishna is. Let Krishna's play continue. Let Krishna play with Srimati Radharani, with the gopis. Oh, Krishna, such a superlative hero. Krishna, such a supreme actor. Radharani, the superlative heroine or the actress or the player. And their conjugal affairs, their Krishna being unlimited, Radharani also being God, na? So Radharani is not an ordinary woman. Only Radharani is Radharani, only Krishna is Krishna. So when we appreciate the status of Radharani, Krishna is the supreme hero or heroine, or the only enjoyer and the enjoyed, then naturally we come to our senses. Oh, how wonderful they are. Let me just serve their eternal enjoyment rather than trying to imitate them. When someone's status, someone's glory is so glorious, rather than trying to become like them, or one just bows down. Even in the material world, if somebody is like so rich, then a person who wants to become rich, but if he meets the richest person in the world, what he will do? Would he become envious of him, or he will like to just no? He will appreciate him so much that he will just say, heads off. You are so great. Rather than trying to compete with them, he will just bow down, isn't it? So in the same way, the only role left for the living entity is, once he becomes enlightened about the status of the divine couple, Krishna and Radharani, the only function or joy that, oh, let them continue performing their loving pastimes. They are most entertaining. They're the most hilarious, most everything. So much so, that's why the Sloka in Bhagavatam, second canto comes in. Ko nirvito hari kathasu ratim kuryad. Ko nirvito, which frees one from all entanglement of this material world. Such a blissful relishment, or one that gives such a blissful relishment. Nirvito, so much so it frees one from all other engagements. such most blissful Hari Katha, ko nirvito Hari Katha su ratim na kuya. Who wouldn't fall in love when one experiences such loving, such absorbing, such hilarious pastimes of the divine couple, Krishna. Ratim na kuya. Who wouldn't fall in love? Who wouldn't? So that is the potential. That is the in satsang, one is able to experience this most absorbing, most delightful Hari Kathas. You know. So what association deprives one to relish this wonderful, most absorbing Harikatha? Stri Sangi Eka Sadhu, entanglement with the woman or women. Ek Asadhu. Asadhu means non-devotee. Stri Sangi Eka Sadhu, Krishna Abhaktar, and those who are non-devotee, which are those who are karmis and jnanis and yogis who aspire for material perfection, those who aspire for liberation. So these are non-devotees. Sti Sangi Eka Sadhu Krishna Abhakta are. So that's why in the conclusion, the instruction is that we have to be very careful who we associate with. And following this rule, it is inevitable that the feelings of the people one associates with are injected within the heart. And even if these desires other than for Krishna are not injected into the heart of a sadhaka who has firm faith, still it would be a heartache for him to associate with karmis and jnanis. Yeah, it's a heartache, like a pain in the neck. They say, na, pain in the back or pain in the neck, depending on who is speaking about him. In the same way, the scriptures also describe it. It is such a painful situation to be around people where one is not allowed to speak about Hari. Na shauri chinta vimukhan jana sambhasa. See, the scriptures describe the contrasting aspect just to bring the point across so deeply and so clearly. Hutam vaha association with regard to association, the scripture describes varam jala. The first word is not coming from Panjarantara avasthitim na shauri chinta vimukha jan sambas vaishasam. Varam huta vah jwala. It is better to be surrounded or better to be put into a cage and then surrounded by the flames. Varam huta vah jwala. Panjarantara avasthitim. Na shauri chinta vimukhan. Shauri means Krishna, one who is chivalrous, one who is so glorious. Na shauri chinta vimukhan, those who are bereft of against the Krishna Katha. Na shauri chinta vimukhan, those who are deprived of, those who are careless, or those who are against the discussion of Krishna Katha. It is better to be surrounded, or better to be put into a cage and with the flames around, to run away from that place where there is no Hari Katha. Because if one is put into a cage and with a flame around, only his body will die, correct? But with his consciousness, even while body burning, he can think of Krishna. But if one is surrounded by the people who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, then what happens? Their consciousness can be spoiled. And in the spoiled consciousness, eventually one day, the body will die. So they will attain the status of their polluted consciousness because of the association with the polluted consciousness people. So, it's a heartache, for him to associate with karmis and jnanis who have separate desires other than Krishna. For they will try to play down the glories of devotion and establish the glories of karma and jnana, bhoga, sense gratification and liberation. They will establish the glories of karma and jnana above those of bhakti. Therefore, it is always the best for a sadhaka who desires his own benefit to stay far away from them. Nautam ei tattva gaje. So in this Tripadi, Nautam Das Thakur loudly proclaims that one, one who desires his own benefit, he should stay away from these, those who aspire for liberation or aspire for mundane sense gratification. Keep one's focus on the pure devotional service, where one can think of the satisfaction and the happiness of Krishna. I think, can we stop here? Invite some participation. Thank you very much for your patient listening. We are only reading mostly from book and just trying to imbibe the wonderful message of Sri Prema Bhakti Chandrika. If anybody has any question or comments or one wants to say something, it's welcome. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. In we are also in Hindi. We are continuing this Vilap Kusumanjali, and in couple of sharings before, we came across how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Advaita Acharya, he was, because Advaita Acharya desired to be punished and punished by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being young and in a mood as a devotee, he was respecting the great, very elderly Advaita Acharya, and Advaita Acharya did not like that the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bow down to him and show him respect is worshipable. So in order to excite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so that he stopped honoring him. So he did something to apparently displease Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so that he punished Advaita Acharya. So see, Advaita Acharya, what trick he adopted to cause Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to punish him. So if the Lord, although he is a young boy, if he punishes the older person, Advaita Acharya, then he will feel very blessed. So what he did, he was teaching. So bhakti or the gyan. The gyan means the process or the sadhana to attain liberation. Jnana is they aspire for liberation, very material liberation. Is greater than bhakti. So when he openly started preaching like this, the conclusion of the scriptures is bhakti, jnana, speculative or non-dualistic knowledge. It is above bhakti. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, then he became very angry. Because the purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation was Bhakti bujhaite se Prabhur avatar. Only to teach bhakti. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, So, heno bhakti na manibo. Heno bhakti na manibo. So, one who teaches a mantra, but one who teaches that the essence of all mantra or the teachings, bhakti na manile krodhe apana pasali. So, when he heard that this Advaita Acharya is not considering bhakti as the highest, bhakti na manile, he thinks jnana is superior. So bhakti na manile krodhe apna pasari. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forgot that he is that he is in a mood of as a devotee. So he just crossed and he became angry like Krishna. In anger he forgot himself. Prabhu more shasti karibe ke chule kari. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu grabbed Advaita Acharya, the old person, elderly person, from his hair and just started beating him. How dare you call bhakti is inferior and jnana is superior? Jino aparadh kainu tenu shasti painu. And he became so hilarious, so that yes, I became punished by the person whom I offended. Bhaloi karila Prabhu alpe. Well done. But to this offense, alpe, in a very little punishment, you have just forgot it. এখানে সে ঠাকুরাল বুঝিনু তোমার দোষে অনুরূপ শাস্তি করিলা আমার. So he was joyful that now he noticed the lordship power, power of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and who has punished me according to my offense of showing or telling that Gyan is superior to Bhakti. इहाते से प्रभु भृत्ते चित्ते बल पाए बलिया आनंद नाचे शांति पुराए. So having the Lord, having Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his Lord, Bhakti Chitte Valpai. Now he has demonstrated his lordship over me, and I feel great strength in my mind as a devotee of him. Baliya Anande. So saying this, singing this, Advaita Acharya started dancing. Therefore, we can see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how much he was very angry. Anybody who tried to establish the glory of any other jnana, karma, any over devotional service, that would be bad association. Correct? So if we associate appreciating, glorifying those who following the path of karma kanda and jnana kanda, aspiring for either superior, higher sense gratification, status, or liberation, they are satsang like that. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Hare
Amanda.
Krishna. Good. Pranams.
Hare Krishna. Welcome.
Thank you so much for always such beautiful teaching. It always astounds me, and at the same time, I'm not surprised at all how everything that comes from your lotus mouth is so relevant to what's happening in my life at that point in time. It brings clarity to many things that I've been wondering, and helps with decisions that I need to make. So I feel, listening to you, I can feel my heart softening, and as hard as it is I can still feel, there's an opening and a sense of humbling, realizing how far I am, just how far I've got to go. And it gives me a lot of hope. And I feel really comforted to have such an incredible opportunity to take shelter of your lotus feet. It feels like something that I've been seeking and praying for so long. It's just been feeling exhausting. And even yet, I'm completely bereft of devotion. So I pray to be blessed to begin on the path of bhakti, and I pray for the people that I care about as well, who I see endeavoring and struggling, for them to be blessed as well, because it hurts my heart to witness that. Thank you so much for your association and for bringing all of these beautiful souls together. It's the feeling of family that I have really been aching for.
Yeah, this is a very positive feeling. Feeling that distance or contrast. So, but the feeling of that mercy, that that hope, as you express, that's the real thing. Because without that hope for mercy, we are anywhere lost. We have been lost since eternity, and because we could not fathom enough the mercy principle, so that Mahaprabhu Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, we are connected to that flow of mercy. And this is the mood Mahaprabhu also taught us to cultivate. One should think that I'm so far away from Krishna, far away from the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. What in the whole world we can take pride to be able to accomplish anything? Because any accomplishment of this material world is it just takes as far as the grave, when the body is left. That's why we have to cultivate this consciousness. Only by your mercy, O Krishna, O Mahaprabhu, O Radharani. So only by mercy means, however lost I may be, but because I feel having been connected to your mercy, the flow of your mercy through the agency of your devoted associates, through the connectivity to your pure devotees. Therefore, now I cannot. I just won't become hopeless. So hope is the ultimate achievement, to become situated into undying hopefulness. That would be wonderful. Nonetheless, our number one priority is we ourselves, oneself, because of our attachments cultivated during this lifetime associations, and also many impressions from the previous lives. So the affinity is there, and our even through gratitude, we may have gratitude towards many beings, kins and family members, and different. So we can definitely sustain our gratitude gratitudinal attitude towards them. But our number one priority, nonetheless, would be oneself. In order to express the maximum even gratitude towards others, we have to perfect our lives first. Janma Sarthik Kari, our number one priority, our number one, what is it? Or gratitude, if you want to use the word gratitude. Generally, gratitude is towards others, correct? We have benefited from. So, we have to show our gratitude. The mind, the mind has to show the gratitude towards the soul. Are the mind and the soul too? But soul has to become the first or primary beneficiary. So we have to bring our mind, intelligence, senses, body, everything together to cause the ultimate benefit to the soul. The position of the soul is like the king. Did I use this analogy before? The position of the soul is like the king. And king has his entourage and his praja. So who are the associates of the king? The ministers and other subdivisions. King is never alone, so we should see that the soul is, even in this material atmosphere, it is associated with, it has with its associates. Who are the associates? The mind, intelligence, senses, this body and everything. So what is the role of the king? A king is called king because he has command over his citizens. So our mind, our body, intelligence, ego, all these things, they are meant to serve and meant to fulfill the purpose of the king. And what is the purpose of the king? To bring full gratification or fulfillment of the soul. But if the king loses the command and gives the command to the minister and sub-ministers, and he becomes careless from the mood of the king to express the authority of the king, hey, everybody work for me, what will happen? The citizens will become independent. Anarchy will be there. Nobody would listen to the king, and the king will be dragged down. So, by our this polluted consciousness. What is polluted consciousness? The status polluted consciousness, that the soul has given his command as the king and let the citizens rule over him. That is polluted consciousness. So we have to bring back the status of the king, status of the soul, and be in control of our mind, body, senses, everything. Then, when the king is in command, everyone else benefits. So everybody feels very good being commanded by the king. So we have swayed, swayed from the position of the soul as the king. So recognize that and be in control so that others, the citizens, don't control you. What would be a better position? Should the citizens should control the king, or king should control the citizens? What do you think? Amanda?
Yes, for the citizens to serve the king.
So we take care of yourself, put yourself in the position as the king of your body, mind, senses, everything, their senses, not other way around. And then you can, when you have support, when you have the cooperation of your citizens, when you become powerful enough to help others and share the same message to awaken the soul. The soul is very glorious. The soul has the capacity, soul has the potential to be fully glorious by becoming Krishna conscious. The king means who is the king? King, one who is fully Krishna conscious. He is in command. He is safe, and he can make others safe. So you take command of your soul, and then whatever you do, it will be respected, it will be honored, it will be noticed that you have genuine substance to help others and benefit others, like that. All right.
Yes, thank you so much. It feels really soothing. It feels like balm to my heart to hear what you're saying.
Hare.
I noticed that I have had a tendency to become a bit disconnected from things, and I suppose maybe artificially renounce, and so feel distant from certain people, certain relations, because and it's been easy for me to think that I had some detachment, when actually I can realize that it's just on the spectrum of attachment, but the other side of it. So actually, I still have a heck of a lot of work to do. So
Yes, but
thank you.
but uh, stay enlightened that the soul is the king and you are the soul. So take command of your citizens.
Jai.
you you to rule over them rather than be ruled by them. Correct. So
Yes.
this should be very encouraging, and it should give us a lot of hope. Yes, hey, we are not supposed to be that ruled, like to the wrong end. We should command over those to take us, to the right end, like that. Soul the king, okay?
Yes, that's wonderful. Thank
That's,
you.
that's you and everyone else, all of us. We, the soul, the king. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pranam Shri Guru.
Sri Swamini Mateshu. And yeah, so then we can, with that kind of enlightenment, we can go all the way. Hare Krishna. All right. Thank you all for your wonderful participation. Kirtaniya Sadahari, what are you up to?
Hare
Hmm?
Krishna, Pranam Shri Guru.
Hare Krishna.
Very wonderful class, Shri Guru. Very wonderful satsang, as always. And as much as we glorify you, it's not enough. If we glorify you for 1 trillion years of Brahma's life with 1 trillion mouths, even then we cannot reach to one drop of glories of because of what you are giving us, Shri Guru. It is amazing, it is fascinating, and we are ever thankful, Shri Guru, that we are able to get your son. We cannot wait to meet you in 2 days, Shri Guru. Hare Krishna, Shri Guru. Many Dhanvats at your lotus feet.
Sri Swamini Mate Astu Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari 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 Hari. All right then.
If anybody would like to unmute and speak anything, please kindly do that.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
All right then.
Hare Krishna, we will all unmute and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra at least 3 times for honor and love for our dear Shri Guru.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare
Ram,
Hare Ram,
Hare Ram,
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
From our hearts, we will call out Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajakacarya Ashtotara Shatshi Srimad Shri Swamini Kripa Murti. His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Swarup Govind Maharaj ki
Jai.
Jai Jai Gurudev, Jai Jai Gurudev.
Hey Hari 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 Bol. Again, Gaurangi becoming the youngest participant. Gaurangi, you get the gold medal also? Okay. Hare Krishna Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari 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 Bol. So,
with your mercy, Shri Guru, everybody gets a gold medal.
Harshida, correct? Harshida. What are you up to? So,
Hare Krishna, Dandvat Pranam Gurudev.
join in less than 1.5 hours the Kirtan, okay? Correct? Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari 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 Bol. Hari 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 Hari.